So welcome guys to our handstand progressions. I'm going to take you through a series of different exercises and I've broken it down into 5 parts. Now it's worth considering that even if you look at the first 3 parts of the exercises and you think I can do them easily, we're still trying to build a broad base of experience and skills. So please don't rush to the end product. If you can do a handstand against the wall, that's brilliant, or even a free handstand, that's excellent. But what we're trying to do is increase proficiency of your handstand overall. Not to mention, if you do a lot of these exercises, it's not just going to benefit your handstands, it's going to benefit you elsewhere in the box in terms of different movements that you can do. So taking the time to build those strong foundations, even if you recognise them, even if you know them, will really help you with injury prevention, make it easier for you to hold that freestanding handstand, which is what we're aiming for eventually. So please don't neglect these early stages and early steps. The foundations and fundamentals rarely change, so work on those as your bread and butter and then gradually build up. Okay guys, so our first set of exercises we're going to look at are isometric holds, and these isometric holds are designed to build up strength in a static or still position. Obviously when we do the perfect handstand, we're holding it as still as possible anyway, but in order to strengthen the shoulder in a variety of different dimensions, what we need to do is practice holding those with the reduced load of our body weight. So the first one, quite simple, and most of you guys can do this very well, but once again, you want to really work on your proficiency and making sure you're optimal with it. So the first thing we're going to do is a press-up position hold. So what I'm going to do is get myself in my press-up position. I'm looking to get my shoulders over my hands, and then also, if possible, my heels over my toes. I'm pulling my stomach in, I'm finding length through the arms, and I'm just trying to pull my stomach in gently. And I'm just holding this press-up position. Now I know for a lot of you guys, you're going to be used to doing press-ups, so holding this position is going to be quite simple. But what I want you to focus on is being able to relax into this position and hold it anything from 30 seconds to a minute with ease. So making sure you're breathing, you're pulling in through that core, staying nice and strong, and you're just staying switched on with the right muscles and not overworking. Obviously, if you find this quite easy, you can throw in some press-ups, coming down, up. You can move side to side, and I've done a whole kind of range of exercises around the press-up position that I shall drop in a link on this video. But as a start, we're just holding this strong position. So we want to hold this for quality. So as soon as you start shaking or struggle, then I want you to ease down. So come down to your knees, give your arms a bit of a shake out, and then you can go down. And I'll do 3 or 4 sets, just keeping it comfortable. So that's the first exercise. The second exercise is going to be our reverse incline. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to sit on the ground, I'm going to point my toes. I'm going to sit nice and tall first of all. Now your hand placement, you can place your hands wherever you feel comfortable. I like to put mine slightly outwards and by my hips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my hips upwards and I'll try and keep my body nice and straight. So I'm finding length through the arms. Head position, you can either look up or you can let your head relax back. The choice is yours. But once again, I'm trying to hold a nice, still, static, strong position while breathing and using what muscles I need to hold that position, and then down slowly. Okay, if that's quite hard for you, you struggle with it, then you can go tabletop, so you can bring your legs in, you can push your hips up, and with this one you're aiming to get your hips in line with your knees and your shoulders. And once again, we're just trying to discover that stillness and that strength through the stillness. And one of my favourite sayings is always, stillness is a superpower, so you're trying to keep as still as possible. So once again, this is working the shoulders in a different dimension, strengthening them, but also your core. So one of those 2, or both of them, ideally, would be a good practice. So you've got your reverse incline, pushing your body up, holding it straight. And same as the press-ups I mentioned before, you're just holding it for anything from 30 seconds to a minute. As you get more comfortable with this, you're going to be able to hold it for longer. And then ease down. Okay, so those are our first 2 holds. Next up, we've got our hollow rock. Okay, so I'm going to go through the hollow rock in a very basic form to start off with, because a lot of people rush the hollow rock, which means they're not getting the optimum position. So the first thing I want you to do with the hollow rock is
rock. So you're going to pull your knees in and you're just going to rock and roll forwards and backwards like so. And notice the reason why I can rock and keep myself nice and round, smooth with my rock is because my lower back is is rounding out, which basically means I'm keeping a nice contact with the ground. If I arch my back and try and rock, if I fall flat like that, it doesn't quite work. So I need to be able to push my spine backwards so that I get a nice smooth rock forwards and backwards. And that's ultimately what we're looking for with our hollow rock position. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my sit-up position. I'm going to squash my lower back into the ground. So I'm aiming to get this lower back squashed into the ground so there's no space under here. Now from here, I'm going to lift the leg up and back down, lift another leg up, back down. Now if you feel like if you lift your leg up, suddenly you arch your back, then we need to practice just holding that position. And once again, it's a hold. I'm pulling my stomach into the spine, but I'm not bracing. It's not an all-out effort, and you should be able to comfortably breathe, talk, and hold this comfortably for at least 3 or 4 minutes without any effort. Once we get good at that, and we can lift one leg up, we can lift both legs up. Once we can still feel the lower back engaged, we can start to stretch the legs out. So we can go out with one leg, out with the other leg, but we want to build up to this gradually, guys. So don't rush it. If you're struggling to keep that lower back engaged to the floor, just work in the range that's comfortable. So even if it's just here, pushing the legs out there, we can do it there, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out with my arms, and I'm just going to pull my head up, okay? So this is going to start to create tension through the arms, through the shoulders, and it's going to form the one side of the hollow rock, or the dish, and I'm going to keep my lower back pressed into the ground. Now from here, I'm going to slowly straighten my legs, and once I can feel that my lower back is engaged to the floor and I'm reaching, I'm just going to hold this position here. Now if I'm holding it for quality, if I start to shake and struggle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ease down and come out of it. Have a little breather, have a rest, and then I'm going to go back into it again. So squashing that lower back into the ground, reaching with the arms and keeping that lower back engaged to the floor. I'm just going to hold that position there. Okay, the more you practice that, the easier it becomes, the less effort you need. And we're just going to finish off with one more exercise. So all of these, like I say, are isometric, they're just holds. And the last exercise is going to be an overhead hold. Okay, so bear with me 1 second.
So with my overhead hold, what I'm going to do is grab an object. It could be a plate, it could be a kettlebell, it could be a weight. And all I'm going to do is look to reach up with my object, keep my arms straight. And what I'm aiming for is the hollow rock position we've just done on the ground. So first of all, I'll show you what it is not. It is not arching the back here and allowing the plate to sit back here, because a lot of the time, if we have got shoulder mobility issues, a lot of people like to arch the back in order to get the object overhead. What I want you to make sure is that you pull your stomach in, your rib cage down. So I don't want my rib cage to flare upwards like this. I don't want my ribs sticking out here. I want to pull them inside. And then I reach up with my object, pull my stomach in, and I just hold this position here. So once again, it doesn't feel like I'm doing an awful lot, but I'm learning how to control that position, keeping my whole body balanced and also activated. So it's just worth noting that when you do things like a ground to overhead with a plate, as you come up, you should finish here. It should be a nice straight line, stomach in, and you hold that position, not arching out, okay? So once again, with those holds, just practicing them, remembering that this is skill work, guys. It's not necessarily strength, it's skill work, so it's about moving in the right way, holding the position in the correct way, as opposed to just holding an object for however long. So give that a go, guys. Work through that for the next couple of days. Make a note of what you've done. Just do some videos, send them to me, I'll have a look at them, and then we're going to move on to the next steps as we go along. Good work.